Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Her Hoop Stats podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 11th. Happy Veterans / Remembrance Day if you are in the United States or Canada. Another episode of the Her Hoop Stats coming at you. If you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe right now, wherever you are listening, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever, and make sure to follow us on social media and go to herhoopstats.com to subscribe for newsletters and stats and all of the stuff we're going to talk about today. My name is Chelsea Leite, and I am joined by Tyler DeLuca for a fun Tuesday episode where we are going to get into a variety of topics, mostly college basketball. We are kind of in that season right now where WNBA news is, for the moment, a little bit less intense, and we're getting into the college season. Those first few games are kind of starting to trickle out. We're starting to get into the real stuff, and last night was definitely the real stuff. We had a really good ranked matchup between Oklahoma and UCLA. So we're going to start by talking about that because obviously Tyler DeLuca is in Oklahoma. Go Sooners. They did not win.
No.
Give me your thoughts on that game.
It's kind of layered because in a weird way, I feel better about both teams leaving the game. Obviously, if you're Oklahoma, you want to win the game, but frankly, I had a fear that game could have got really bad. Going into it, there was a legit fear of that because UCLA has championship depth and
100%
does not. That depth showed in a whole lot of ways.
I fear UCLA got deeper than last year.
I would like to just how dare you to everyone else to allow John Neepkins on the UCLA roster? Just how dare you is really the message here. I've said it before, just in general. But if you could pick a player to put next to Lauren Betts across the country, Gianna Neepkins is genuinely one of the top choices, if not the very top choice, that you could just place next to Lauren Betts. It is such a ridiculously perfect fit, and it showed last night with her dropping 20 on Oklahoma. But you also have a Dugalich, for example, that is another one of those players that they just have so much. I think what makes UCLA so dangerous to me is that they have a whole lot of size that is capable of playing defense and being very disruptive, but there's no drop off on the offensive end, really at all. There's no give and take between which side of the ball that they are really trying to emphasize. There's no give and take in that. And when you have, just kind of a rotation of players where you don't have that give and take, there really is no letting up off the gas in ways. And that is incredibly dangerous, frankly, to go against. And because realistically, I thought Oklahoma actually played good defense last night. I thought against Belmont, I was nervous going into this UCLA game because I thought against Belmont, the rotations were slow, the closeouts were a little too frantic for my liking. I was nervous on the defensive side of the ball going into this game, but they actually played with the level of defense and physicality on defense that I was actually pretty impressed by, and I didn't know that Oklahoma really possessed. And to be honest, and I mean, you hold Lauren Betts to 9 points and 4 of 11 shooting with 1 free throw. You'll take that, and ultimately that is what makes UCLA so good, is that you could stop Lauren Betts from doing that, and yet all 4 other players surrounding her can go and score. And it was Neepkins last night. There's a multitude of players that it can be on any given night. And that's what makes them so dangerous. So I mean, UCLA looks like contenders. I mean, not a surprise.
100%. They're title contenders no matter what. We knew that going into the season. One of my favorite highlights from Gianna Neepkins was, and you're gonna laugh at this, but and you know exactly what I'm talking about because I saw this on the timeline this morning. She's going Aaliyah Chavez on defense, absolutely puts her on skates right past her to the hoop, and I was like, oh, that was your welcome to college moment.
Yeah.
When you talk about welcome to the WNBA moments, that was your welcome to college.
She got her. But I've seen a lot of talk on social media about Aaliyah Chavez's performance. It was not an ideal performance. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was. However, I actually think there is a lot to say positive about this performance from Aaliyah Chavez. for 2 main reasons. 1, no turnovers. We take that,
Okay,
as a starting
fair,
freshman point guard going against UCLA,
fair.
playing 32 minutes, having the ball in your hands a lot. And while the shots did not fall, and again, like you that is not a good thing. I actually thought the shot selection was better than what it
Yep,
was against Belmont, where
fair.
there was some threes that I didn't love. I mean, you're kind of this is kind of what you're getting in Aaliyah Chavez, and like you're
Yeah,
not gonna like try and like put a muzzle on the shot. So I mean, that's what she's a bucket getter. Like that's what you bring her in to do. So I'm not mad at
yeah.
any of the threes that she took against Belmont.
No.
But all the shots she was really taking here, like there wasn't any shots where I was like, "Ooh, why?" Are you know, like it was all makeable shots. And frankly, from an Oklahoma perspective, like there was a lot of missed layups left on the board, and this game ends 73-59. This could have been a whole lot of a tighter
Yeah,
end if you just make a couple more layups. And
yeah.
again, like so for that, I leave feeling better about
Mhm.
Oklahoma. This is an incredibly young team. You have 11 players on this roster. 3 freshmen are playing legit minutes. You have 2 sophomores that were playing last night, including Zaya Van, who was really, really solid when Chavez went out with foul trouble. But this is an incredibly young team outside of your star seniors and Reagan Beers and Peyton Verhulst and a junior in Sahara Williams. So this is a team that it's kind of 2 separate timelines almost, but they've now met it for this 1 year where because of the talent you have that are seniors, you have a degree of championship expectation.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be interesting to see now how the growth comes from this game. I'm just I don't know what that looks like yet. So that's kind of the next step is oh excuse me for Leah Chavez specifically. Just making me just the loss it hurts. Um,
Um,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Chavez takes this game as hope from a little bit of a biased perspective. Hopefully for a launch pad, to
yeah.
go forward. Because again, I don't think the shots were bad. They just weren't falling the way that it needed to.
Yeah, and I mean, my question for you, obviously knowing the system a lot, is like the big concern I think with a lot of people about Aaliyah Chavez is the defense. And you were
Mhm.
talking about being concerned about Oklahoma's defense. Like, is within this system that they play, is there room for Aaliyah Chavez to improve her defense, become a better two-way player, or is she just going to have to really lean in and improve the offensive game to really fit into the system?
Well, I think it's going to be trial by fire in a lot of ways, and I think that this is the team again. Last night, I was impressed by the defense. I thought the rotations were really solid, and Chavez included in some of that. I think that Chavez is maybe a little bit sturdier than people would actually give her credit for, even though she's not the tallest player.
Yeah.
But like I believe that there is like room for improvement on the defensive end, and like
Yeah.
that there's like a roadmap to doing that. And frankly, you're playing in the SEC. Like you're gonna have to defend. Like
Yeah.
there's not many teams where you have a player that you can just sag off of as and leave them open and do like that's not really happening in the
Yeah.
SEC.
She's
Um,
gonna be guarding, Tanaya Latson and
right,
Raven Johnson real soon.
right. So like or LSU, like where it's all
Yeah,
perimeter stars. So like while she's never, I don't think you're gonna see her on the opposing team's best player like really at any point. Like that's not what you're asking her to do. You don't want her to do that because you don't want her expending that energy on the defensive side of the ball. So whether it be a Sahara Williams, a Zaya Van, a Keziah Lofton, and maybe more in the future, another one of those freshmen. I don't really expect her to be the type of player that goes and guards the opposing team's best perimeter player. Mainly because you don't really want her to have that responsibility if you don't have to.
yeah,
And so I think that there's room for improvement. I think that there's like a genuine like, okay, I can see how we get there. But I also don't think that you're ever going to see her be this like lockdown defender because I don't think that's ever going to be really asked of her
yeah,
in that manner. So I the defense is what it is right now. I'm not like pulling any fire alarms over it or anything.
no,
But the highlight last night with Neepkins, I mean, certainly. I mean, look, Aaliyah Chavez is going to have a spotlight on her,
yeah,
just point blank, period. And I think I also feel like, and I don't really know exactly why this has happened, but her going to Oklahoma specifically, and like not going to like one of the bigger schools, like where you see like just more talent, frankly,
yeah,
that comes through the recruiting. I feel like has put even more of this spotlight on her.
100%. I
Uh,
mean, it's like Caitlin Clark on Iowa, like,
sure. But from the
you know?
jump, you
Yeah,
know, from
yeah.
the jump, at least from like from a women's basketball like social media perspective, it feels
Mm,
like there's understandably high expectations for her as
yeah,
one of the top recruits. but it seems to be like a lot of social media pressure within that. And that's another part of this that she's gonna have to handle. And
yeah,
I'm excited to see, firsthand
yeah.
how that story kind of develops here with Aaliyah Chavez.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's why you have this conversation of like number one recruits, and then they have this like 4-year college journey, and like number one recruits aren't always guaranteed to be like number one draft pick
Mm,
prospects. And it's kind of like how you use your college time and where you go and the development and all of that. Before we start talking on a more like national scale, I
sure.
do want to bring up another player this week because we're talking about Lauren Betts and Reagan Beers and all of that. But Sarah Strong wins Big East Player of the Week.
UConn bias, Chelsea.
Don't come for me.
I'm just joking.
No, I know you what's the word? You egg me on when it comes to UConn bias. You love it. But Sarah Strong averaged 21 points, 9.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks per game
Mm-hmm.
in a few games where. And I forget if it was you or Jamie I was talking about this with, but in 2 games where UConn definitely was at like a 6 out of 10 in terms of effort. Like they're holding back a little bit right now.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a game breaker. Like she does things that like we haven't seen. Okay, like to have a we've seen like point forwards in women's basketball and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like not I try not to compare it to the men's game, but it feels so Jokic-esque in the sense of like
Yeah.
you have this big that can pass the way that she can, that there's not a spot that she's like uncomfortable on the floor. Like it feels like that type of just you try and play defense against her, it doesn't work. You throw your hands up and say, "I tried." Like
It's like that Haley Van Lith, Caitlin Clark.
no, literally, but it's everyone. Like I don't know what the strategy is to try and stop.
No, it's giving Maya Moore.
Mm.
And like I
Level of
don't make
dominance, sure.
yeah, level of dominance, maybe not the exact same game, but like and like that's a very interesting comparison. Like Maya Moore, frankly, could still be playing basketball today if she wanted to be, and like could be still at that level of dominance. Also, like tear falls at the basketball that we missed, but she got to live her life. But yeah, Sarah Strong being this good as a sophomore is wild.
This is supposed to be when the slump happens, by the way.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you know what I mean? Like this is supposed to be where it's like, oh, they start a little slow. No, she's like
this is the slump, bro.
Everyone's in danger. Like everyone is in danger. Like I put a tweet out and I was like, what would you give up for your WNBA team?
I saw that.
Guarantee they draft Sarah Strong. People were trying to give it their firstborn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and you know what? Valid. Honestly, I get it. I really do.
And
I really do.
As someone who, I feel like my team kind of has my team has a decent chance at the moment, you know? Like, we don't really know how Toronto's going to play over the next few seasons, but like, bro, like to have, and so I was out a little while ago and we were talking about like, there was a bunch of basketball people and we were like, okay, the impact of Juju Watkins coming to Toronto would be astronomical. And like, that's in terms of on-court play or, just having that caliber of star in your city. Incredible. But I was having this conversation with someone who like knows a little bit more about Sarah Strong. And it's like, okay, Sarah Strong is shy. Like we're like, she's not kind of the and maybe she can turn into the kind of like person who has that outward personality. But even if she doesn't, it's fine. That's her personality. But like the impact on your basketball team, if you get Sarah Strong immediately, because this is her as a sophomore.
Follow. She's just
too good. And I feel like she's one of those, like, I think about Kawhi Leonard, who like, as someone in Toronto, like obviously wasn't the most outspoken, but like was just so good and just had that aura follow him wherever he went. Same thing with her. Like, just that girl, wherever she gets drafted, will never pay for dinner in her life. She will never hurt for anything. That city, and I swear, because Dallas keeps getting good things, I swear if it's Dallas, I'm going to get really mad. But
I wouldn't be too mad at it, I'll tell you right now. Quick 3-hour drive down to see Sarah Strong, I'm there.
No.
I'm there.
It's not fair. Hashtag fire Nico, but they did already. Oh man, we won't get too much into men's basketball, but Yeah, I mean, it's just like, again, we talk about sophomore slumps and like the stuff that Sarah Strong is doing. I mean, if Gino thought he was retiring in the next few years, sorry, Mrs. Oriema, he's not. Like you just, and then he recruited someone else like 2 weeks ago. That's like number 2 or something, and I'm like, bro, I sure.
I honestly, it's got to a point where you have to like fear or at least ask the question, like, are we just back in the UConn dynasty? Because like Sarah Strong is that good, and
Yeah, Sarah Strong is that good.
and like
Sarah
the talent
Strong,
around her is, I mean, it's still UConn, you know, like so like
she's
it's
1-0 right now. So far, she's on a Brianna Stewart-esque trajectory in terms of she putting her on a team automatically makes them a contender.
Sure.
And it's wild thinking about the UConn we were seeing like 2 years ago, even with Paige Beckers. Mind you, she was injured, but like, you know, goes out in the Sweet 16. Everybody's questioning, oh, UConn this, UConn that. Not anymore.
No.
No. Oh man. And I mean, to segue now into our conversation that we're gonna have, number 1 program in the country per the AP poll. You know, obviously we don't take this as Bible, but you know, the AP poll is a good place to start when you're thinking about schools and rankings. But UConn keeps their number 1 ranking by 30 points, which is decent given, you know, the competition up there. But then you have South Carolina, UCLA, Texas, LSU. We have this like field of undefeated, which obviously is going to like start trickling down as the games go on. Last year we had a really fun like UCLA, South Carolina undefeated, and then they were going to come to, it was wild. I'm curious, like, let's start talking about rankings. For you, like, which one of these teams, based on the first like 2 to 3 games, do you think has the best chance of staying undefeated longest? Ooh. And I say this as someone like, I know LSU is playing some teams that are not ranked
here. I mean, in theory, LSU has the best chance because you're gonna see South Carolina, UCLA, and Texas all in Las Vegas on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So like those teams are gonna. I mean, those obviously someone's
those games, and those tournament games count towards regular season.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's those 3. It's luckily this is not on Flow Hoops.
Okay.
But it's those 3 and Duke. Poor Duke. And to me, I'll tell you right now. So like, I'm gonna try and kind of cast LSU out of this for the time being. If you look at those, I mean, right now UCLA looks like the team.
Yeah.
Like that, I would pick out of that Final Four, if you will, of teams. Okay. Obviously South Carolina and Texas are both. I mean, like you could sell me on any of those. Like if I was forced to make a pick, I'd probably say UCLA. Like UConn as well. Like obviously not the toughest non-con we've seen UConn play. Like just like in years past, just because like their standard is so high in that. So like if you told me, I mean, goodness, like you get through this non-con, this from like a ranked opponent perspective.
Yes.
You have Michigan on there. You have you go play at USC.
Can we call UConn versus Michigan the Chelsea Bowl? Because
I mean, literally, it pretty much is. You know,
basically, I will be seated. Thank you.
I mean, it's hard to pick against UConn. Frankly, again, they don't have like they're not playing South Carolina early, you know, or anything like that.
Or at all. I don't think.
Yeah, no, not this year. Okay. Both Tennessee and Notre Dame are into the new year. You're not. I mean, obviously the Big East is the Big East, which normally UConn kind of runs over, anyways.
Yeah, they play USC in December, but again, like I don't see them losing that. They play Notre Dame. That could, I mean, if Hannah Hidalgo decides,
there's games where it's like you have like pop off potential from like a star player, whether that be USC, whether that be Notre Dame.
Yeah. But even like UConn, I mean, because they're in the Big East, their conference play. UConn, I will say, they have the potential to go undefeated the whole season.
For sure.
When you think about, they have, again, like their ranked matchups as of right now are Michigan, which again, I see them winning. USC, I see them winning. Iowa, I mean, who knows? Last year, I think they lost against Iowa, but whatever. or no, that was you. I don't know. It's all a blur. Notre Dame could be one that they lose. Tennessee is always a big one with them, but again, like you have Sarah Strong, and then they just play all of the Big East teams, and I
Yeah,
mean,
I
they
mean,
go
there's
undefeated.
a very legit and real possibility that they go
Yeah,
undefeated. Like, it's not ridiculous to say
yeah.
at all.
But I also think like UCLA also has. Let me pull up that schedule because
So
before,
UCLA faces a much tougher schedule.
yeah,
I will give them that because not only do they play, they'll play Texas, they'll play the winner of South Carolina and Duke, and then they play Tennessee, all back
yes.
to back to back. And
Oh, and
and
their
that's
last
before
game is
getting into the
Big
Big
Ten
Ten,
play
which is
off.
better than the Big East. So yeah, I would be, I wouldn't. UCLA has the talent to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Is there potential? Sure, but they just play a much tougher schedule, frankly.
Yeah, and, like, the again, like, yeah, with Big Ten, it's like you play Ohio State. That could easily become a game, like, there's always potential to have an off day against these teams that are,
Mhm,
like, tough just to begin with.
mhm.
Maryland is another one that could come and kinda, like, scare them a little bit. You never know with Michigan. Washington is a team that has looked really impressive. Like, you just never know who's gonna go off on any certain day, and if they're if they're defending Lauren Betts well enough that, again, she's being held to 9 points and
Mhm.
Gianna Neepkins doesn't score 20 points, like, there's just so much. Yeah, it's like a harder schedule, and then, of course, you have, like, South Carolina as another team that, I mean, maybe not as tough of a schedule, but at the same time, like,
Anyone in the SEC, I'm not willing to bet they're gonna go undefeated.
yeah.
Just and that's just on the strength of the SEC. Like there's
Oh,
like it's
100%.
hard. That's hard to do. It's possible. Obviously, we've seen it recently with South Carolina. But like that's tough to do. And yeah, the SEC is just good. Like I mean, just
So
point blank
good.
period. So I'm not really
Good.
willing to bet on SEC team to do that. UConn will certainly be the team that
Yeah.
I think can this year. Um, I think generally speaking, UCLA has a talent to do so, but I don't think that they're going to.
South Carolina versus Vanderbilt, Saturday, January or Sunday, January 25th, seeded. Um, yeah, the LSU South Carolina game is gonna be interesting. Yeah,
I think it's UConn.
yeah,
It's UConn.
it's
Like
UConn.
the answer is UConn.
It's UConn was still in the ACC, it would be different, but maybe not very much different, but oh, man.
It's UConn.
Yeah, it's UConn. Which, like, yeah, very, very good chance of going undefeated, which would be fun, Sarah Strong. Uh,
I bet it would be for you.
it
You're
would be for
biased.
me. It would be for me. I am willing to take, this is very sad to say, I'm willing to take a Michigan L so that you
Oh,
can be
that's
undefeated.
fake.
That wow, fake fan.
You're fake for that, but it's
Fake
whatever.
fan, fake fan. Sorry to Michigan, love y'all
Mhm,
still. But if they did win, I would be very excited. That's a true Chelsea Bowl is because I'm gonna be hype if
mhm.
Michigan wins, but I'm also gonna be hype if UConn wins. And I'll be like, like, good game, Michigan. Good game.
Fake. Fake fan.
Wow.
I will say though, looking at these rankings,
Yeah.
USC jumped a lot.
A lot. 10 spots.
To number 8. Um,
Huh?
it's a lot of dip on the chip. It's a lot of dip on the chip. And while I love what I saw from Jazzy Davidson. Let me correct that. I love what I saw from Jazzy Davidson in that second half.
Evan.
Um, what I saw from London Jones in that shooting from 3.
Mm,
Um, hold on. Like we might need to pump the brakes just a little bit. Look, it's early season. I understand early season rankings are going to bounce all over, and a lot of it's kind of just like winners of matchups, like switching places with the team that they beat and stuff like that.
literally. It's exactly
Um,
what we saw with Baylor and Duke.
yeah,
So
so like I'm not like I don't think this is like where these rankings are going to end up by any means, but it's a lot of dip on the chip. If they go and beat South Carolina, then I'll be proven wrong. But that the interior defense is still something I am nervous about with USC. I think the wings are set with Jazzy and Kennedy Smith, and the guards as well
good.
with Dunn and London Jones. Like
Yeah.
there is talent. Like don't get me wrong, this is going to be a good team. This is going to be a team that wins basketball games. Um, I don't know. Like it just seems like there's such a sharp deficiency in this. And Lindsay Gottlieb had like the perfect pivot of it. She was like, "Yeah, all our bigs are in the W now." And I said, "Okay, hold on, let her cook, let her
Let her
cook."
cook. Let
That's
her
kind
cook.
of a
It's
bar,
true.
kind of a bar. So she said post game, and she's not wrong.
You're not
I
wrong.
mean, like obviously we were in the college era of portal and reload. And I didn't. They did that from a guard perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously losing Juju, throws a wrench in everything. What you do from kind of like a long term planning perspective in that way. But yeah, we'll see how long. We'll see how they perform against South Carolina. Is honestly like
Yeah.
what I'm waiting
It's
for.
a litmus test.
For sure. I mean, like, because NC State, like NC State did well against Tennessee. Obviously, they're going to beat
Yeah.
Tennessee. But there was in that game there was a lot of just like the way that they were not getting the bigs the ball, or the way that like when they were getting there or where they were getting it. Like I wasn't a fan of it, and I frankly think NC State missed a big opportunity with their bigs to go and take advantage of USC's. And we see the result of that game, which was also a very, very close game, still went to like a go ahead basket.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I'm excited for a top 10 matchup. So I appreciate the AP vote for that.
Yep.
This weekend with South
Yep.
Carolina and USC, the battle of the real USC.
Yeah. Is that this
But
weekend?
yes.
I thought they were playing Michigan.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm. Nope, that is this weekend. So I'm excited for that. I mean, again, obviously, if USC goes and wins that, then we're having a completely different conversation, and
Yeah.
I have to raise my expectations and where I believe that they're going to be. But I'm willing to hold out until that game on saying, how like
Michigan's
where they're
playing
at.
Notre Dame. That was the matchup
There you go.
I was like, okay.
There you
Anyways,
go.
but continue.
But yeah, no, I'm just again like just as we're kind of looking at these teams and seeing like where they fall in the rankings, like obviously USC picks up a big win, so it's like understandable to see them jump again,
Yeah.
especially so early on in the rankings. This is what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how they fare against South Carolina, and that'll tell us a lot about I think the expectation going forward for what this USC team can do.
Yeah, that's very fair. And I mean, expectations are just low in general, given that Juju is out. But like that could be a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
Like they could rise above people's expectations and kind of take on this like underdog mentality, which would be fun. And on the other hand, if they don't perform to that level, you're kind of like, meh. But they lost Juju, so meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other big jump was Baylor going up 9 spots, and then obviously Duke going down 8 spots to 15 because of that one game.
Yeah.
Again, early poll stuff, it's whatever. I mean, we have to, that game was already like a week and a bit ago, so it's like we've talked about it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think it really warrants that much of a whole switcheroo.
Well, frankly, I'm okay with Duke falling after that game.
Fair.
Like that offense. I mean, we've had this Duke conversation plenty of times. The
And it's
offense
not Toby.
is
Not too much on my girl Toby.
Sure. I mean, it's not good. From what we saw in that, like we've had this Duke conversation before. It's not like
This is
it's
the
not a new
Duke
dialogue.
conversation. This is
Yeah.
the eternal Duke conversation is at Kara Lawson, play some offense, please.
Yeah. So that this is the dialogue with Duke. This is kind of what you're to a degree getting. From a Baylor perspective, look, as someone who has been pushing the agendas of both Talia Scott and Little Page Bugs since they entered college, great for me. Great for my stocks.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
agendaing.
yeah, I mean, this is a Big 12 in general that I was a preseason voter, and like, I mean, it's so tough to try and like between Baylor, TCU, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. Like I'm interested in seeing kind of how, I mean, those standings just end up kind of shaking out. Cause I mean, those are all ranked teams right now, all very good teams. Like all to me, like at least from a preseason perspective, like it was really tough to shake out like kind of where those teams fall. So I say that to say Baylor right now has the most impressive win out of all of them. I think they look like a team that play with more pace than they have maybe in the past with Talia Scott, and you have whether it be Little Page Bugs or Kirsten Johnson, the Oklahoma transfer coming in that can run the floor. Like you have an ability, you have an identity, and I don't know if Baylor has had kind of a true identity in that way in years past, and
Since,
I think
like,
that
the
that's exciting to see.
2021 era, I think.
Yeah, you know, like, so, like,
Yeah.
it's exciting to see them, like, where it's like, even if it's playing fast is the identity, I'm
Yeah.
cool with that, let's hoop. You know, and, like, when you have Talia Scott, like, that's a valid thing, she just has to stay healthy, because
Yeah.
the points will be there, so, I'm not mad at them jumping as much, obviously, that was everything's also in response to, like, where preseason expectations have a team. So
Yeah.
frankly, if someone is just wrong about, you know, like Duke is the team an example here, so I'll use them. But like, if you're wrong about where Duke is preseason, maybe that Baylor win doesn't mean as much. You know, or like we'll see how hindsight, you know, kind of defines this win in the equation of, you know, seeding and everything of that once we get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Baylor in that one. It doesn't feel as like a as much of a whoa type of jump as like the USC one kind of does,
Yeah.
at least for me. So I'm not mad at it, but again, it's so early that it's kind of hard to deem any of these one way or the other.
Yeah, it's true. I do think the one I think yeah, and maybe this is my outside perspective, but I do think the Big 12 conference gets, like, a little slept on
Mhm,
in the grand scheme of things when you think about SEC and, I mean, like, Big 10 now is, like,
mhm.
rip to the Pac-12, all that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, when you think about people who could come out in the Big 12, I mean, you have Baylor, you have Iowa State, you have, like, there's all of these I'm trying to
TCU,
TC oh,
Oklahoma
yes, that
State.
was the other one,
Mhm.
Oklahoma State. Even, like, I mean, I keep an eye on BYU a little bit just because of Delaney Gibb, like, Delaney Gibb
Mhm.
played s she had such a good summer. Whew. Um,
It's a lot to get BYU up there with them names, but
I
yes,
know. You
but
know
yes.
what? It's my Canadian agenda, I'm so
Mm.
sorry.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, maybe not as a team, but keep your eye on
You're just
Delaney
pushing
Gibb.
your agenda. It's no, I respect it.
Keep your
I
eye
respect
on
it.
Delaney Gibb,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Um Gonna be a fantastic player, like, absolutely fantastic. The way she played at the U19 Cup and even at the Cup, yeah. Um, but anyways, so I don't know, I just think that that conference and, like, once we get into, like, conference play and conference, tournament season, it's always a conference to me that I'm like, "Oh, yeah, they're
Look,
there."
there was such a mass exodus of what made the Big 12 great in different eras. Obviously, you had Kim Mulkey leaving Baylor,
Yeah.
and then you have OU in Texas, who then kind of ran the conference after that, both leaving to the SEC, and it kind of left this like vacuum. And
Yeah.
I think kind of surprising to me, honestly, you didn't really see a team like I thought last year was going to be Iowa State that just kind of like took over and
Yeah.
dominated that. We didn't see that.
This year,
Baylor,
perhaps.
you know, potentially, yeah, sure. I mean, Baylor hasn't like gotten back into like that Mulkey form of like being a true like it feels like okay, you are one of the top teams in the nation.
Yeah.
And I think with that, they've kind of been casted aside at
Mhm.
times, like between the
Yeah.
power conferences.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I don't know what this season, but like you're telling, like Talia Scott is a player that can win you games in March. Audie Crooks,
100%.
Addie Brown, like those are players that can win you games in March. Olivia Miles is a player that can win you games in March. TCU has a ton of size.
Yeah.
Those are the type of players that we're talking about here. So like if you end up telling me that you see these teams making deep runs, like I like just on paper right now where we stand, I wouldn't be surprised by any means. So I do think it's
Yeah.
because they lack that like true title contender in
Yeah.
that way that you aren't really seeing them get talked about in the same way that the other conferences do.
Yeah, and I do think it's a lot more of, like, the Big 12 has these star players as opposed to these, like, contending teams. 'Cause it's like you talk about UCLA, it's like they're a whole team effort. They have, depth. UConn, depth. South Carolina, etcetera, etcetera.
Mhm,
Whereas we talk about the Big 12 a little bit and it's like, okay, this player, this player, this player, and of course there's teams like TCU that have a lot of depth. There's, etcetera, etcetera. But I think and, like, maybe this comes from, like, conference play slash tournament time and you watch them a little bit more and you're like, "Okay, this" they do have more depth than this
mhm,
player and this player. But yeah, definitely as I think conference realignment hasn't helped as well because then you have you're not watching the Pac-12 as much, but then you get this, like, huge, like, Big 10 kind of movement going on
mhm,
right now. You have the SEC that is always gonna be dominant, and even, like and I mean, like, the ACC has Notre Dame and, like, these big teams that come out and, like, have these, like, you know, not historic games, but they have these, like, big moments in these games, right? So, Yeah, I mean, it's hard, and I think there's just, like, so much volume as well. It's, like, hard and, we try as hoop people to watch as much as we can, but at the end of the day, you cannot watch every single basketball game
Mm.
because you just don't have there's just not enough time in the day.
Sure.
Oh, man, but yeah, it's I will say, yeah, as we're talking about rankings, it's a little too early to, like, really solidify a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, it's too early for me to be, like, legitimately mad at anything.
Yeah,
I'm sure I will be at some
yeah,
point, but not yet. Not
yeah,
yet.
not yet, not yet, not yet. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, that was a good game last night for sure that, and
Well,
once we start getting more of these, like, top 10 ranked matchups. We also got last night?
mm.
Friggin' Dom versus Cena. I was living for that. I knew you would
Grandslam Goat.
Grand
Grandslam
Slam.
Goat.
Oh, as soon as they hit his music, I was like, I knew they were gonna do this. Friggin' Dom, man.
You're crazy cool
Anyways.
for this podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna turn her hoop stats into a WWE podcast, just so you know. Um,
Sweet. Great.
what a time. Anyways, obviously because I brought up WWE, that means that we are on the end of our
Time to
topics
go.
for the
It's time
day.
to
Yeah,
go home.
it's time to go.
It's time to
It's
go.
time to go home. All right. So, what's going on this week? We have a few ranked matchups going on. Obviously, we talked about USC versus South Carolina. Obviously, we're still waiting in the wings for WNBA news to come out. They're mid extension. I will say the one thing that came out over the weekend is that they are doing the draft lottery, so that's fun.
Yippee!
Woo! Dallas is gonna get the number one pick again.
Yippee!
Yeah, so that's, like, the only piece of WNBA news that is really coming out. The only thing that I saw yesterday that I kinda posted was that Sandy Brondello did an exclusive with Marie Claire magazine, and that's where she confirmed that she did say no to Dallas and Seattle. Those are the 2 places that gave her firm offers, and she said no. To come where?
You want those Toronto Summers?
Toronto Summers. That is right. I mean, that girl's tired. I hope they got her out of here before the snow came, for being so for real. We got a blizzard
That's
the
not what
other
she signed
day.
up for. She signed up for
No, she said, let me go back to Phoenix and then go back to Australian summer for a little bit, and then I'll come back when it's hot again.
real.
But I do hope they got her out of here before the snow. But they were that girl was all over town last week. She was going to Sephora. She was getting all the Canadian stops. She had dinner with Darko Rajakovic. It was a whole thing. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, the only coaching decision we're waiting for is still New York. And
Everything's fine, it seems like.
everything's fine. I've heard like 3 different names come up and then fade. So I do think they're having a little bit of trouble deciding over there. Yeah. So anyway, that's like our random little WNBA news moment. But that's why we have 5 podcasts a week, so that we can get all of this news. So thank you for watching this Tuesday edition of the Her Hoop Stats podcast. Make sure to subscribe. Head to herhoopstats.com. We have a bunch of really great newsletters coming out. You can sign up and have them come straight to your inbox every day. I was supposed to have one come out today, but we kind of decided that rankings, as our conversation, were a little bit too fresh to start talking about. It just kind of felt a little bit redundant. So we're going to start that next week in terms of talking about rankings on Her Hoop Stats. But we got a ton of really great, newsletters, columns, et cetera, on there. And yeah, you can check us out on social media as well. Tyler and I have our handles here on YouTube if you're watching. So check us out as well. We are trying to, fix our addictions to Twitter, but we're still on Twitter quite a lot. We're on Twitter a lot.
Too much.
Thank you so much for watching the Her Hoop Stats podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned, and we will see you next time.